Thank you for listening. A list of content warnings can be found in the episode description. Take care. Enjoy the show. Planescape Torment, the Unofficial audio series. A narrative let's play adapted and produced by Revoke GM. Combining in-game audio with additional voice acting through dialogue and descriptions to improve your listening experience. Rediscover the amazing story of the 1999 cult classic isometric video game, Planescape Torment, like you've never heard before. Some coins, a roll of bandages, a scrap of paper, and a ring. All the items Pharod returned from your body, the possessions of a previous self. The ring itself is warm to the touch and has a trace of magic about it, and while it looks reasonably valuable, it is much too small for your fingers. The note is grubby and stained, and has been folded and refolded numerous times. The blotchy text looks as if it was scrawled by a multitude of hands. Beware shadows. Beware places that night lives. They wait. There is no natural darkness. Only shadows.
You coming along?
A moment.
Well, hurry up.
Just where is this place that you found my body?
Where do you think I'm taking you? You not trust me?
Not yet.
Aye? You've more sense than I gave you credit for. Spot lies behind the painted door in the Hive Red Light District, just spyward of the smouldering corpse bar. Beyond that is the alley where I found your body.
Right. What did I look like?
Much as you do now. Only paler, I suppose.
No wounds?
Aye. No fresh ones, least.
All right. Let's move on. Much to your relief, Anna had led you on a shortcut through the trash warrens, avoiding the worst of those rancid tunnels. And now, back on the surface, even the choked sigil smog feels like a breath of fresh air. In truth, after the horrors of the tombs and dangers of Undersigil, being back in the Hive is like a weight off your shoulders. You've grown fond of this maze of streets, and had missed it more than you'd admit. You make your way through the Hive past the Primer's Gate and find yourself along a familiar row of buildings. The walls are plastered with graffiti and murals, and there's a strong smell of booze and urine. You recall the wild chase down these cobbles as you fled from a gang of chaositects. And while there is a light thrum of activity, the street seems clear for now. Anna leads you up to a door set within an alcove.
Through there's where we want to be.
All right, let's head on in. As you reach forward, what you first took to be a handle is actually a flat panel of mortar. The door in this archway is in fact only a painting. The artist has made use of the shadows of the overhanging arch and some subtle texturing effects to give the door the illusion of substance. But, other than the skill involved in creating it, there is nothing remarkable about the painting. Wait, are you sure this is the door, Anna?
Aye. It's been smeared with barmy paints from the starved dogs, it has. It's a real door until you look at it. Then it turns into a painting.
How did they do that?
Oh. There's stranger things in the plains.
Anna shrugs.
You might as well ask how you got yourself out the dead book after I was sure you were dead.
So, this door, I just don't look at it and then open it. Anna glances at the door, then nods.
That's the dark of it, if it can't be true.
All right then.
Wait, hold on.
Anna stops you.
This is the only path I know to reach the place I found your corpse, but it's not the safest road, aye. You sure you're ready? I'm not here to play you minder, no matter what old Stuttercrutch says.
What's beyond this door that's so dangerous?
Chaos men. army as they come, barking wild into the day and night, ready to either paint you with colours or crack your brain box with a chamber pot. Dangerous bloods they are.
How did you get through?
I crept in, nice and quiet like. They can't paint you or kill you when they can't see you.
She looks you up and down with a frown.
I doubt I could pull that twice with you around. You look right clumsy, you do.
Is that so? Well, just stay behind me. Let me open the door. You close your eyes, reach for the door, and fumble around. To your surprise, you find a solid handle. With a slight tug, the door opens. Time to head on in. A narrow passage leads into the building, with more of the chaotic images sketched along the wall. They distort your perspective and begin to make you dizzy. As you try and walk forward, you stumble into what you thought was a turning, but was just more of the disorienting paint.
Focus on the ground. The barmy walls will have you totting around like a bairn.
Anna strolls ahead, lightly grazing the walls with a finger. You follow her lead and come to some kind of lobby that splits off into corridors, each lined with apartment doors. The air is musty with mildew and turpentine. Set up in the corner, you see a slender tiefling girl standing with her back to you. You notice that both her hands and the upended table in front of her are smeared with a fresh coat of what appears to be pink paint. She seems oblivious to your approach.
Greetings.
At the sound of your voice, the girl turns her head to regard you. Her face is grubby and spattered with the bright pigment, and she flashes you a wide, mischievous smile before returning her attention to the makeshift canvas.
So, you're gonna go up to everyone we come across? Greetings.
I know, right? You'd think he wanted to meet the entire population of Sigil.
Hey, what can I say? I'm just a friendly kind of guy.
Ugh. No wonder you have so many scars.
Perhaps we might continue this conversation once we are clear of this place.
Alright, Pops.
With a grin, Anna darts into one of the corridors with such speed and agility you can hardly keep up. As you pass one of the doors into another nexus of hallways, she holds out a palm, pressing it into your chest. You can't help but notice her skin is blazingly hot, leaving a slight redness at her touch.
Watch your footing.
She nods to a taut wire that stretches across the threshold in front of your boot. You follow the line up the frame and see a brace of daggers loaded into a springed mechanism on the ceiling above.
Look. Oh, so you do have an eye for it?
Anna deftly slinks up and eases the tension behind the trigger, catching the blades as they slide out of their case.
Mate, next time you won't go charging about.
Then tosses one harmlessly at your feet. A flush of warmth rushes to your face.
Anna, didn't I meet you in the hive before I found Pharod?
She nods a little warily.
Aye, you did. I haven't forgotten you.
Why make things so difficult? You could have told me then that you'd seen me.
You mean tell some blighter I'd just seen dead in an alley that I'd swapped a little junk for his corpse? You daft.
Well, alright, but you could have said something. I spent days looking for Pharod.
I wanted nothing to do with you. Walking Dead are giving me the creeps.
Suddenly, a door bursts open, and a man comes charging out from one of the hovels. A wild grin is stretched across his face, and streaks of paint mark his brow.
Out of the way! Out of the way!
Immediately, another figure crashes down the hall. A Borea, stark naked and painted horn to hoof in black and white stripes.
This'll teach you not to go around painting people in their sleep.
They careen past, bounding away, yelping and giggling and roaring. It's hard to tell if there is real danger or some joyful game.
Maybe this place isn't so bad. What do you say, Chief? Join the fun?
I picture you with a paintbrush. You've nowhere to put it, you floating skull.
You wouldn't believe what I can do with just these teeth.
Ugh!
What's that?
You poke your head round a corner and see an aging man dressed in tattered rags picking away at some kind of stringed instrument.
Written are the prophets, are the holes on the words. Speak the walls silently, the chaos of prophets.
As you draw nearer, you discover that he is missing both of his eyes. The scarred tissue of his eyelids has receded into his empty sockets, giving his features the macabre appearance of a decaying skull.
Greetings.
The old man turns in your general direction, his arms outstretched as if feeling for you. When his hands grab at nothing, he gives up.
Darkness. My old friend. The words I'll speak of you when call chaos.
Speak the words of chaos, and you'll call me old friend. Is this jumbled up scramble speak really necessary?
Between cross poles there is me, for I have no mystery. Once the sea, like a man I raged. Once a woman, like the earth I gave.
The old man cocks his head to one side, his sightless gaze fixed on empty space.
But you, estranged friend, are ill-behaved.
What are you talking about?
Chaos of you are not. Not. Pops not.
It's obvious this is getting me nowhere. Farewell.
Life is never what it seems, and every man must meet his destiny.
Has everyone here lost their minds? Psst, over here.
Anna calls you over to a shaded vestibule. She is crouched, peeking through the crack in the doorway. You approach and see a brief glint of metal. Suddenly, a steel handbow emerges from the shadows, its bolt pressing into the nape of Anna's neck.
Blistering Beator, could you make any more noise? I heard you from all the way down the hall.
You see a figure obscured amid the shadows in the corner of the room. As you draw near, a woman steps out to reveal herself, dressed in sturdy overalls with short-cropped hair.
You again?
You again? And here I was, pleased to see you.
Anna bats the weapon away casually.
What's going on?
Keep your voice down.
Shut it. I hear something.
A whole mess of them howling lunatics, that's what. Sounds like they're having some sort of gathering. Won't be able to get through to the alley until they clear out.
How many of them are in there?
I counted about a dozen of them. Of course, I was peeking through a crack in the door, so I could be off by a handful or so.
Or so? Eh? Dead on a dozen? I see how that could be a challenge. For you.
Look, Anna, you play the hero if you want, but leave me out of it. I'm staying right here until it's safe. And if by some miracle you don't get your innards stomped, maybe I'll see you around.
She turns and slips back into the shadows of the corner.
Hold on. Who are you? Her name's Sybil.
Thank you. I can introduce myself. Sybil.
She spits into her palm and reaches out to clasp your hand.
Great. What are you doing in here?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm hiding. I came in here looking for food.
You notice that as she speaks, her right hand moves instinctively to the pouch at her waist.
Only the barking idiots in the next room showed up and decided to throw a party on the front doorstep. Now I'm trapped in here and I can't get out.
Looking for food. Ask her what's in the pouch.
She seems about to respond, but stops herself short. She eyes you for a moment, then shrugs her shoulders.
All right. You're with Anna, so you're obviously not Harmonium. And you're definitely not with the savages in there. I'm a thief. What's it to you anyway? A girl's gotta earn a living somehow.
Some thief? Get you some snagged at a dog party? Hey, hold on. I see another door.
Yes, I saw it too. There's a door that leads in there, and from what I was able to see, there are some stacks of crates along that same wall.
Aye?
So it may be possible to avoid a fight and sneak from that door to the exit on the other side of the room.
Well, problem solved.
No, there is still a problem.
There's always a problem.
Of course. Wouldn't be much fun otherwise.
So,
The door's locked. I tried it. My guess is that one of the other tenants must have a key, but I'm not addle-coved enough to fumble about this hive looking for it.
She folds her arms across her chest and stares at you expectantly. Anna, too.
well, tell me about this place. How many tenants are there?
Anna, you know this place as well as I do.
Aye. Tenement of Thugs, it's called. Safe house for the starved dogs. Mostly just barmy painters and layabouts. But there are a few ruffians. And if they see us, they'll cause a fuss.
Exactly. And then the whole building will wake up. And that would not be good. If anyone's got the key, it'll be one of those loons up top. I've heard a little of the goings-on while I've been here, and there's some chaositect philosopher mincing about. He has a group of cronies babbling around him. All nonsense, but they do seem to have the run of the place.
Right. Well, if the key is up there, I'll find it.
I can't have you stomping about making a skrik. I'll lead.
As you wish.
If you do manage to live long enough to find the key, the doors in a room dragward to here. I'll be watching from the shadows. If you can unlock the door and make it out to the alley in one piece, I'll be right behind you.
Farewell, then.
Hey, farewell, Sybil.
As you stalk through the mouldering halls of this tenement, you begin to notice a tension in Anna's movements. You suspect the encounter with Sybil had caught her off guard. In the short time that you have been following her, she has been nothing less than assured and agile. Though now, there is a hesitation before every move, a triple scan along every corridor.
Would you keep up? I can't be checking my back every step to see if you're there.
She rattles the handle of the door in front of her.
It's all right. We're with you.
She takes a deep, slightly strained breath and unloops a ring of slender tools from behind her ear, then delicately slots them into the lock on the door. If it wasn't clear before now, it is more than apparent that Anna is no simple collector.
How do you and Sybil know each other?
It's not important.
You work together?
After a moment, she withdraws the tools with a little frustration.
Something like that.
So you're a thief, right?
No. And what gave you that idea?
She pulls out a small flask and soaks its contents onto a rag, then proceeds to rub the contents of the flask over the implements before returning them to the lock.
Look, at least for now, can we just try and trust each other?
Ah, you gully. What's it to you?
Because I need to know who I'm working with.
All right, fine. I'm a thief, a rogue, a knight of the post, coney catcher. What? You're gonna turn me into the harmonium?
No.
The door clicks open.
Good. Ah, jackpot.
Anna leaps towards a large sealed crate at the back of this room. It appears to just be basic storage.
I thought we were looking for stairs.
Yeah, anything that's locked up is worth snapping open.
She grins.
Yeah, most times. If you want to be useful, grab that pry bar and get over here.
She nods to a bundle of tools on one of the cramped shelves.
All right. What do you need?
See there?
There's a coil.
Hey, another trap. Hold that here. I'll disarm it.
She motions for you to wedge the pry bar into the seam while she hooks her tools into the gap.
Why so many traps? Don't people live here?
What? Barmies? Aye, they live here. As much as they live anywhere, they land each night as Kip. Chaos men are about as paranoid as they come. And for good reason. Your best pal might just as quick gut you in your sleep as grab you for a night of passion. And forget your name the very next day.
Is that from
Me
experience?
dags are inches from your stem. I wouldn't finish that thought if I were you.
Noted.
You feel a slight flex of the metal, and then a ping.
Watch out!
There is a twang of snapping steel as you cast your body forward, pressing Anna into the ground beneath you. As you do, you feel a slicing pain on the back of your arm, and a rusty blade clatters to the floor.
Everything all right in there? Oh my! I did not mean to interrupt. What you about? What will you get off me?
She rolls out from underneath you.
You okay? You're bleeding.
Oh, you fool! What you done?
The trap released.
Well, you just shouldn't have been distracting me while I work. Are you okay?
You look over and see a large gash severing your left tricep. As you watch, tendrils of skin begin to creep across the wound, and your blood rapidly coagulates about it.
Oh my! What in the abyss is happening?
It is agony this time. You still feel like you haven't fully recovered from the drowned nations, and the rust on this blade burns as it is sluggishly pushed from your skin.
Yeah. So, about that, Chief. There are a few things you may want to know.
Oh, you cursed, you are.
That may be.
I didn't really think you were deathless, but...
It's fine. What was in the box? Nothing. Just junk. Chaos attacks. Let's just move on.
Anna continues to lead you about the jumbled corridors, up several flights of narrow stairs. You're surprised how big this building is, wondering how many apartments are crammed onto each level, though you suspect most sit empty and abandoned. The array of aromas is also quite dazzling. A savory scent of stewed onions wafts from one doorway, followed by lavish perfume from another. Then, you're fairly sure you detect the smell of burning sulfur, punctuated by frequent spritzes of paint thinner, mold, and body odor. Anna frequently darts ahead, checking various doors. After entering one, you hear the start of a panicked yelp that is quickly cut short. After a moment, she steps outside, a sheepish look on her face.
Don't go in there.
You can't help but lean your head into the tiny chamber, and the first thing that strikes you is the stench. And then you notice the slumped body and the chamber pot beneath him.
Oh, no. I told you not to go in there.
Eventually, you come to a larger stairway that opens out onto a wide landing, and you hear the muttering of gruff voices above.
You said to leave it alone, so leave it alone. But you gotta want to know what's inside. It smells funny. Powerful. Power and strength.
I think that's the one we're after. Sneak up and nab him?
What if they call for help?
Come on, we can take him. Let's shut him up. They'll try me barmy with that chip.
I have an idea. Mort, can you distract them?
Powers. Fine.
You and Dakon press to either side of the stairway, and for a moment, you think Anna has disappeared entirely, until you see the swish of her tail as she clings to a beam above. With all three of you in position, Mort calls out.
Hey, plain swine. What I gotta do to get some action round here?
Who's that?
Yeah, I'm talking to you, you filthy stinkers.
The Chaos Men begin to trudge down, their steel-shod boots clanking upon the steps.
Oh, no. Oh, maybe I came to the wrong place. Even 50 swigs of brandy would make you look good.
What? Let's see how this plays out. Bag him.
Infuriated, they lunge forward, but as the first comes into view, you throw out an arm, slamming into the thug's throat as he crumples to the floor. Dakon follows up, grabbing the next, clamping his hands about their mouth. In a movement too swift for you to follow, Anna drops behind the third, and her blades draw along his throat, spraying blood across the stairs.
Why do you do that?
What do you mean?
She's right. It would not serve to leave them behind.
We could have tied them up. Oh, what? You got rope tucked under that little skirt of yours?
Hells.
You crack your pry bar across the remaining man's temple, and his eyes go dim.
Ah, well, sure he deserved it.
What makes you say that?
It's just easier that way. Trust me. Come on, check him.
You pat them down and find a key on one of their belts, the leader, you presume. He looks strong. You suspect, had you faced him and his goons in a fair fight, they may have bested you. You close his eyelids and try not to think too hard about what just happened. With the key in hand, you work your way back to the ground floor and find the door Sybil had spotted, leading to the exit. You can hear the gathered thugs in the room beyond, their howls mixing with what sounds like drinking, sparring, and raucous laughter.
Okay, now follow my lead. I'll open this door nice and quiet. If what I remember seeing is true, there should be some boxes and crates we can hide behind. I'll go first, then follow, one at a time. Get into the shadows as quick as you can. You can?
I can. Yeah, I understand.
Now, if the jig is up and we're made, you better have something in mind, because they'll chase us all night through the streets, make no mistake. You ready? How about you, Pops?
Skull?
The look on Dakon's face does not fill you with confidence, and you wonder what he thinks of your new tiefling guide.
I'm ready. All right, let's go.
Anna drips a little oil from her flask into the keyhole and gives it a turn. Then, with the delicateness of a jeweler, gently opens the door. Immediately, your senses are assaulted by the smell of tobacco smoke and booze, along with the hoots and jeers of the Chaos Men. With a quick nod, Anna darts into the shadows, dissolving into darkness. Mort, floating closer to the ground, then quickly follows.
Dakon, you next.
He looks uneasy and hesitant. Despite all the dangers you have been through, ones that he has faced without trepidation, Dakon seems now very much out of his comfort zone, his glaive shifting in color and texture.
Know that you can do this. We just need to get past without causing any trouble.
With a grim nod, he too heads inside. Your turn. Looking through, you see a large hallway with several pillars supporting the ceiling. This door sits in a dingy corner, mostly covered by shadows. There's a short gap between you and a piled-up stack of boxes, crates, and other cast-aside objects. The Starved Dog's barking gang members are clustered about the hall in small groups. A handful are drinking and chatting, while others spar on a blood-encrusted mat, and a number of them are bounding on all fours and rolling about. None seem to have noticed you enter. Keeping low, you dash across the gap and duck down into cover. Dakon is just in front, while Mort and Anna have made it to one of the pillars closest to the exit. You look around, counting all 12 of the thugs. Most are gathered back towards the door leading further into the tenement, but 3 of them are lingering close by. Anna catches your eye and signals to wait. They appear to have elected one of their gang to make a speech. Mort takes this opportunity to bob towards the main door.
All right.
Dakon is about to make a break for the pillar, but Anna quickly shoots around and signals for him to wait. The orator has stepped out into the open, forcing Anna to press against the pillar, just as the entire room turns in her direction, Mort barely clinging into the shadows of the frame. Another Chaosman chimes in, pouncing up over one of the crates. Your stomach drops as you see Dakon cowed beneath. Just as you think you are made, every inch and scale of his armor and blade melt into inky black, and even you can hardly see. The Starved Dog clambers down, jeered by the rest, and the Chaos Men disperse. Anna, secure now, darts towards Mort and creaks open the door before giving you a thumbs up. Dakon looks to you with a nod and makes for the exit. That's all. Just a few steps through the shadows and you are free. You see Dakon's back as he slips through the door, and just as you are about to dash, Anna makes a frantic cutting motion across her neck. One of the dogs has staggered to the pillar, choking and gagging. You step back and turn to hide, and stand face to face with a man urinating against the boxes. The man blearily looks up, reeking of piss and stale booze, his eyes glazed and unfocused. After a moment to comprehend what he sees before him, his mouth drops open. You throw your hand forward, casting a streak of darkness towards him. Knotted black briars unfurl from your palm, wreathing around the Chaos Man's head, twisting into a crown. His eyes begin to glow purple with malice, and his chest heaves with seething breath. You think he is about to pounce at you. Just then, another of the Starved Dogs steps behind him, placing a hand upon his shoulder. In a sudden fury, he draws his dagger and drives it into the neck of his comrade, who slumps lifelessly to the ground. The hall erupts into chaos. The wild man, grinning maniacally, leaps into the fray, his brethren scrambling to restrain him. You turn as the man gagging beside the door staggers to his feet, wiping his brow. From the shadows, Anna reaches out, gripping her hand about his mouth, then pulls a bloody dagger from his back.
Come on!
With madness filling the room, you dash for the exit, pushing through the doorway, and emerge out into the cool civil air. The sounds of hoots and howls behind you.
Well, that could have gone worse.
Aye, not bad. Well, we shouldn't hang about, mind. They may get bored of gutting each other and start looking for a scrap out here.
You hear the door open and close, and Sybil steps out of the tenement, a light spattering of blood upon her cheek.
I must say, Cutter, I'm rather impressed. I thought for sure those animals would chew you up. Well, I guess I should thank you.
She pauses for a moment, then reaches into her pouch and pulls forth a small green gemstone.
Here. This one's on the dogs. I'll see you around, Cutter.
Farewell, Sybil.
Anna.
There is a palpable tension in the air as she walks away.
Stop staring at me tail, you skull! I'm not.
Anna strides off without a word.
I wasn't. I swear. I swear.
The alley around you is a mismatch of buildings, all crammed into each other like toy blocks. Walls jut out at odd angles, no corner square to another. Razorvine chokes about every brick and beam, and the whole place seems to groan under a strained torsion. Beneath the bleary orange light of the evening sky, it even looks to shift and yawn, as though breathing.
What is this place, Anna? It's like nowhere I've seen in the Hive.
A strange place it is. Not many Burks will come here.
Why? Strange in what way?
Well, some Burks with less courage than names say it's all haunted. It is.
Anna spits and makes a semicircle over her heart.
It's wash. Sometimes the wind blows through the alley and makes weird sighing noises, but that don't mean there's spectres and haunts and the like.
Looking around, you almost get the sense this alley has been sealed off, though you cannot decide if from within or without. A massive gateway looms at one end that looks to have rusted completely shut. Sinews of iron weave through mortar like roots or veins, and the claw-like spires of the rooftops curl and clasp as if closing about something precious or caging something within. As the four of you poke around the odd crevices, a strange rumbling emanates from one of the structures. You look to its entrance and see a shadowy recess that descends for a few feet before ending abruptly in a solid rock face.
Come on! It's just this way.
Anna calls from further down the alley.
One moment.
As you turn back to the wall, the shadows of the alcove swirl in your vision, and you see what you had thought was just a wall is in fact a battered and moss-covered doorway. You descend the crumbling steps and duck inside. Immediately, the stench of decay fills your nostrils. A body lies decomposing in the center of this small stone chamber. From the looks of its rigid, unnatural posture, extreme rigor mortis has long since set in. It's a Dabus, one of the floating servants of the Lady of Pain. The only recent interaction you've had with one of their kind is with the tattooist, Fel, but you have seen a number of them working about the Hive. Its once greenish skin, now mortified into a pale stony grey, has tightened close about its elongated features. Aside from the corpse, this chamber is almost empty. A few dusty, beaten drawers and a broken bed. Once a hiver's hovel, perhaps. You approach the corpse, and as you reach out, a sudden shock passes through your body, and there is a stirring in the air like a wind has found its way into the building and is fighting to get free. You feel a strange, wrenching pain in your skull, as if someone is hammering on it, sharply, desperately. You try and maintain your focus, but your vision goes black for a moment, and the hammering pain fades. until it sounds like it is coming from outside your skull. The darkness clears, and you now hear the hammering coming from outside the building. The entire building seems hazy somehow, confused, as if you were seeing it through a mist. The hammering dies, and the spectral form of a Dabus enters the building. As it does, the windows and the doors become like water, suddenly sealing over the entrance, turning to a wall of solid stone. The Dabus turns, pauses, and then begins a slow circuit of the room, examining the walls and hammering on each one once, as if testing it. The Dabus completes its circuit of the room, then pauses by the door it once entered. It begins hammering, chipping away the stone, but with every blow, the wall repairs itself. The vision fades, but the hammering continues, first at a steady pace, then slower, and slower, and stops. You come to your senses as the hammering ends, and you are once again standing beside the corpse of the Dabus. It looks as if it has withered away here, trapped in the building. Back in the alley, Mort, Dakon, and Anna are waiting for you.
You okay, Chief? You look like you've seen a ghost. Yeah. Wait, do you hear that? Oh, yeah, it's just one of the Dabus. Pay him no mind.
You walk off in its direction.
Chief? You always like this? Eh, sometimes worse.
You see a Dabus, this one alive, of course. It is dressed in long flowing robes and is floating slightly above the ground as it goes about hammering nails into planks on the side of another building.
Greetings.
It turns to face you, and a series of symbols appear around its head. They have a slight glow about them as they hover there, and it takes you just a moment to translate them as a simple inquiry to what you want. You're not entirely sure why you have chosen to speak to it.
I just thought you should know that I discovered the body of a Dabus in this alley.
The Dabus cocks its head slightly to one side. A number of symbols stream above its head, most of which indicate surprise and distress rather than words. And then you see two symbols, translating to dead and where.
It lies in an abandoned building not far from here. It looks as though it got trapped inside somehow.
The Dabus stares at you briefly, then bows slightly and simply floats off in the direction of the abandoned building.
Farewell.
Rejoining the others, Anna leads you to a large wooden gateway. It looks to be falling apart with rot. It opens onto a set of old steps descending into a clearing. Anna walks into the center of a muddy patch and points to the ground.
This is the place. I found you lying right where I stand.
The buildings encircling you here look ancient, but nothing jogs your memory. You step forward and inspect the ground, unsure what you would even look for. There are no outstanding footprints, a few puddles here and there from recent rain. Perhaps they were washed away. Just as you begin to feel like giving up on this place, an odd rumbling like you'd heard before shakes about the enclosure, and all four of you stare in awe at the bizarre spectacle before you. What had appeared to be an ordinary, unremarkable bricked wall now throbs and pulsates with movement. The wall expands with curious elasticity, heaving outward as if some unseen force were trying to push its way through the barrier from the other side. Slowly, the undulating mass begins to settle, its curves becoming more and more pronounced, and you find yourself at eye level with the stony caricature of a human face.
Whoa, what is that?
I don't even know.
Anna stares at the face in disbelief, her hands nervously fingering her daggers.
But I'm for leaving before we find out.
Not just yet. There is something...
Suddenly, a strong breeze begins to blow around you, and the air is filled with an eerie sighing. The rushing wind grows stronger, and you can make out other sounds as well. The creaking of boards, the rustling of leaves, and the grinding of stone upon stone. After a few moments, the clamor ceases to be a cacophony of individual noises and begins to blend into one articulate sound. You can make out a voice that speaks softly, yet seems to come from all around you at once.
It cannot be you.
What? Do you know me?
You are restored again. I saw you destroyed.
What are you?
I am I.
Who are you?
I am I.
What is this? Where are we?
You stand on me, in me, the stones, mortar, the air, all me, undivided.
You said you saw me destroyed. Where?
I saw you destroyed here, in front of me. I see all within me.
Do you know what happened to me?
Things that cast no shadow were shadow. They rose around you, tore you down. Do you not remember?
You concentrate on the strange voice composed of sounds around you. Somewhere, in the deepest recesses of your mind, there is a brief glimmer of recollection. You feel as though there is something vaguely familiar about the sounds. You look about the place, and the evening shadows begin to swell and grow. Swirls of darkness form into figures about you. You remember something. It's your body, but a different life somehow. As the darkness draws in, tendrils reach out, arms, claws, lashing whips of shadow clutching at your lungs. They pass through your skin and strike something deep within.
Yes, you remember. Destroyed. As soon I shall be. I cannot delay division much longer. Pressure builds. Soon, stones will crumble, and the floating ones will repair me to destruction.
You're dying.
Pressure is too much. Too many places folded inside. Not enough space. Must divide.
Divide?
Oh? It must be in the way.
What are you talking about?
I think it's pregnant.
Oh.
Freaky. So where are we technically standing right now?
I really don't want to know the answer to that, Mort.
Help me to divide. Branch out. Expand. New apertures will open. You may use them.
How do I do that?
I think it means the Dabbas. They're always fixing, repairing things.
I see.
The floating ones were upon me, repairing, preventing me from dividing. But I sense the floating one is no longer upon me. It no longer repairs, no longer interferes.
The Dabbas back in the alley. Yes, I told them about the dead Dabbas I found, and they left to seek it out.
Yes, the floating one no longer repairs. It is now with the other. I have closed myself around it. It remains inside me forever.
I see. Well, now that it is trapped, you can divide without interference, right?
Still cannot divide. Too weak. Cannot undo the floating one's repairs. Its changes must be reversed before I can divide. You must undo the floating one's repairs for me.
How can I reverse the repairs? I'm no carpenter.
Seek out the parts of me the floating one has changed. Reverse the changes. Undo the repairs. Must be exact. Precise. Only then can I divide.
Very well. I'll figure it out.
The clearing begins to rumble and groan, and the face recedes into the wall.
I don't know what you are or why I brought you here. This is Barmy.
Look, Anna, thank you for bringing me here. I don't know what this is, but if we can help, why not? You don't have to stay for this.
Sod that. I want to see what happens.
All right, let's go.
With the creaking growing about you, there's a sudden sense of urgency. If this place is about to divide or crumble, it would be unwise to remain in the middle of it. You rush up the steps and back up to the alley. Stones begin to shake about you. One dilapidated structure ahead seems on the verge of collapse. Its beams buck and bounce. You think the alley might be trying to communicate with you. Approaching the structure, you see several boards have recently been nailed into place to reinforce the sagging building. It appears as if the Dabbus was in the process of repairing it. Several newer and sturdier boards have been nailed into place over the old ones. You take your crowbar and one by one pry loose the fresh boards from the face of the building. As the last board comes free, the building itself emits a loud groan as its weight shifts unsteadily upon its now unsupported frame.
Look, it's moving.
I think that did it. Over there.
You see another building attempt to shift. It almost distorts as you look upon it, the stones rising and falling as if caught in a loop of time. It looks as if it has stood for centuries, but is in the process of being torn down. A number of planks and boards are loose on the building's frame, their nails nearly pried all the way out.
We need a hammer, perhaps.
I see one in the rubble just there.
Dakon grabs the Dabbus's discarded mallet and pounds the nails back into place. As he does, you notice that, strangely enough, the building no longer appears quite as old as it did at first glance.
Is that enough?
I don't know.
The rumble settles for a moment. Then, a huge sigh of wind rushes through the buildings.
Let's ask. I have reversed the repairs as you have asked. Was that enough?
The ground begins to shake, and clumps of dirt begin to churn beneath you.
Yes. All is in order. I am grateful.
Again, the wind begins to blow around you, now with fierce intensity. The omnipresent sounds of the alley begin to increase in volume until the voice is nearly drowned out by the ensuing racket.
Now you must go. Division begins. The way is now open to you.
Best do as it says.
Farewell then.
The face melds back into the dirt as buildings shift and rubble begins to form.
Come on, this way.
You run forward as the wall ahead seems to melt away, exposing a narrow passageway. The ground underfoot suddenly begins to rock violently, and the soft sighing of the wind intensifies to an urgent, almost human moaning. You can hear the sounds of crashing stones and snapping boards all around you as you dash into the passageway and make for the streets beyond. Emerging from the falling rubble, the four of you tumble out onto a narrow street. It is dark and cramped as you are used to, but the acrid tang to which you have also become accustomed has a new depth to it. You can almost chew it, it's so thick. You brush off the last of the debris, expecting the cloud about you to disperse, and realize the entire street is filled with the roiling smog. A billowing morass of ash and dust, tinged orange by the swirling of ever-present embers. Covering your mouth, you push down the winding corridor, pressing into doorways, hoping for some respite lest your lungs scorch from the burning fog, and eventually find the glowing entrance of an inn. Hanging above the doorframe is the crudely carved sign of a horse, daubed in greasy red paint and chipped with all manner of gashes and scars. Inside, the atmosphere is predictably boisterous, the furniture already being pushed to the sides in anticipation of a fight. As you squeeze through towards the bar, you approach an elven woman bouncing gleefully upon her stool. There's a revelry about her that catches you off guard, and the garish opulence of her attire is wildly discordant with the surroundings. Greetings. She shoots you a glance before returning her gaze to three hulking bodies huddled in the corner, her aquiline pupils narrowing eagerly.
Is there something you want?
I was just wondering what was going on here. She flashes a wicked smile and swivels to face you.
Well, normally, nothing. Were it not for the fight, I wouldn't be caught dead here again.
A fight?
Yes!
Leaning in, she places her arm over your shoulder and pivots you towards the three gargantuan figures.
See the three Thakola over there? They're going to try to kill an Abishai. The stupid oafs.
She releases her grasp and clasps her hand across her knees. Her movements are all accentuated with a certain vibrancy. Well, they look like they can take care of themselves.
Normally, I would say yes. Thakola are very powerful warriors. However, I know something they don't. Abishai can only be hurt by magic. The Thakola will be slaughtered. Have no doubt about it.
She straightens up, attempting to compose herself. How do you know they can only be hurt by magic?
Do you think I lie?
She pierces you with a frightful glare. No.
Good.
Her gaze softens again, and she smiles. Why don't you warn the Thakola?
Why should I do that? I'm the one who suggested the fight.
Why?
On occasion, my darling husband tries to better his social standing with his underlings by drinking with them in the local taverns. Last evening, I accompanied him here on such an occasion. Those three oafs were also here, boasting of their prowess as warriors. It was obvious they were in a drunken stupor. When they decided to leave, one of them tripped and fell into the table I was sitting at.
Go on.
Most of the drinks at the table spilled into my lap and ruined my attire. So, while the cretin was trying to apologize, I whispered to him that I only accepted the apology of a warrior of stature. If he were truly such a warrior, he'd be able to defeat an Abishai in hand-to-hand combat.
You're going to get them killed because they ruined a dress.
You obviously don't understand the intricacies behind this situation. Let me explain.
She gives you a sympathetic pat on the shoulder.
I was embarrassed and humiliated in front of my sweet darling and his underlings, and they should be punished.
Her eyes flare, and her mouth widens in an uncanny grin.
Now you understand.
I must be going now. Farewell. A little unnerved, you sidle away and catch the eye of an older man in dusty clothes. He gives you a knowing smirk as he raises his eyebrows at you, then glugs from his battered tankard.
He'll pay her no mind, Cutter. Fights here as common as sunflies, but scarcely do we let him add pages to the dead book. Name's Gore. Greetings.
He holds out a calloused palm for you to shake. While definitely strong, this man does not appear to be in the best of health. His skin is pale yellow, and you see pustules speckled along his arms. Greetings.
So, what brings you to the lower ward? You not find enough trouble in the hive? You're more scarred than me.
Yeah, can't seem to avoid it these days.
Yeah, well, if you dress like you're gonna tear the place up, no wonder. It seems you keen on telling all sickle you wear shivs like an audiog wears stink. Yeah. In my day, I was a pretty good warrior myself.
He pauses and sighs into his ale.
Well, them days is over, but I still know a trick or two.
With a wink, his wry chuckle descends into a fit of hacking coughs. When it settles, he wipes his mouth with a grubby rag.
Are you all right?
Oh, nothing a few years of death won't cure. Yeah, air's been getting worse in the ward of late. But I reckon it should level out once the great foundry settles, or a wind blows through from the spire.
What is with the air here?
Oh, it's mostly because of all the portals.
What do you mean?
Well, lots of doors to the lower planes here, letting in the bad air and fumes and such from who knows what layer of the abyss. That's why this here's the lower ward. Yeah. I joined through here's like breathing in a meal. Salt, smoke, pipeweed. It's all yellow blankets of stinging sulfurous gas that this ward spits out.
He gives you a gap-toothed smile.
Yeah, pretty, eh?
Yeah. You mentioned the foundry.
Center of the ward, pretty much. Look for the stacks. Them godsmen make a bunch of things out of iron. Nothing fancy, but they work. Add to the bad air, too.
Guardsmen.
Well, the believers have their kit up in the great foundry, banging and singing and chanting their barmy silliness on being powers in the next 10 upon 10 upon a bunch of other 10 lifetimes.
He rolls his eyes, then spits a brown mass from his mouth.
All they do is suffer and slave and work. I slave twice as hard, and no way am I going to be any sort of power. You understand me, Burke?
You said something about the winds earlier.
Yeah. Well, at times, wind blow in from Sybil's spire, drive the smog out for a while. Though what with the tower belching out even more of the damnable fumes, the clear days never last long.
What's the tower? He begins to laugh, but it quickly breaks into another bout of coughing.
Well, one of the more damnable mysteries of this ward. Hear tell it simply dumped itself in Sybil one day many years ago. Well, no idea where it came from, how it got there, or how to get in the damn thing. It just takes up space and looks like a sight. All them acid burns, weapon scars. It looks like it's seen a few hundred wars, it does.
Good to know. Behind the bar, you see a florid, energetic man with rodentine features. He's shouting and carrying on like a war is about to come through. Like he's got something lodged in his intestines. Like he's too excited about something to talk in a normal tone of voice. His rapid-fire delivery makes it difficult to understand him, but he works through the patrons with masterful speed. As he approaches your section of the bar, swinging a dish rag over his shoulder, you feel a sudden pressure to know why you're here and what you'd like to order, and realize you haven't put a thought yet to
Okay.
either.
Who's next? You, sir, you there. You look like you could use something. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but give me time, and I'll have it figured out on the spot. Beer, rum, fodder. You need rooms? I got rooms. You need supplies? I got supplies.
Supplies? What do you mean?
Well, anything you want, friend. Time and words of money, so keep it snappy.
I thought this was a bar.
A bar?
He makes a pantomime of mock horror.
This is an emporium of services. I am Giltspur, the innkeep, upkeep, landlord, sea lord, outclaw, overclaw, auctioneer, privateer, and yes, barkeep, at your service. I buy or sell, I provide employment, enjoyment, desperation, respiration, entertainment, containment, protection, salvation, and salutation. What is it that I can do for you?
How about some drinks and a room?
Let's get you sorted.
You are surprised to find that this emporium is quite well stocked with a variety of alcoholic beverages, even serving Dakon's favorite mint wine. But you are perhaps more surprised that Anna's drink of choice happens to be a bright red cocktail of blood orange and whiskey, garnished with a wreath of razorvine. Something apparently called a hardhead, for how it resembles the spiked armor of the Harmonium Guard.
Alrighty, almighty, let's dress you down and tot you up. That comes to 37 copper and a single gold piece.
He slaps his hand, palm up, upon the bar, just as you realize most of the coin you had acquired over the last week, along with much of your gear and weaponry, was lost in the waters of the drowned nations. Wait, just a moment. Any of you have any spare coin?
Oh, sure. Just let me check my pocket.
Oh, wait, that's right. No legs.
Hey, don't look at me.
I think I have a little. Dakon digs about for some old tarnished copper in his bag, but there's not nearly enough.
Well, I can take the cost of the rooms, but can't as likely pull the drinks back into the pump now, can I? So, what are we going to do?
Wait, hold on. You said employment. Is there anything we can help with to cover the costs?
Well, that might be all well and good, but how do I know you'll hold true to your word? I'll hold open your tab for the rest of the night. Plenty of bloods in here willing to straighten the hand out, if you know what I mean.
Not exactly.
All right. You seem a square enough bunch. Tell you what, the drinks are on me if you can do us all a favor.
Sure. What do you need?
As I know you've learned from my Feywild friend over there, we've got a fight on the cards. Nothing surprising, but I'm worried this one will go too far. Normally we can halt things before they get too deadly, but the Kola are a pretty prideful lot, and devils are wicked cruel. As fun as it might be to see a Beatorian bloodbath, someone has to clean up the mess, and this combatant combination is one heck of a bother, with more than enough juice in them to fill a porthole. So, here's the ticket. If I ask him to back down, it'll be bad for business, but if you can stop this fight happening, allowing me to save face, I'll forgive you the drinks. What do you say?
I guess I don't have a choice.
Not my problem and not for me to say. The one to talk to is the smaller of the three Thakola over there. Just don't point that fact out to him.
I'll be right back. The smaller of the three is a huge creature standing over 9 feet tall with rippling muscles that support its massive frame. It seems to be engaged in conversation with two similar creatures next to it, both, somehow, even more imposing. Greetings. The great brute looks down at you and gives you a friendly smile.
What you want, Smalley?
I just came over to make conversation.
Oh, that's nice. You seem friendly.
Well, there's a first.
The creature smacks himself in the chest with a thunderous blow.
Thorpe!
He then raises his arms and shakes his fists at the ceiling, which hangs barely a foot above his head.
Mighty warrior is Thorpe. All Thakola are mighty warriors.
He places his fists on his hips and glares at you.
Who are you?
Actually, I don't remember my name. He nods at you thoughtfully as he examines your scars.
Well, you got mighty scars. You must be a great warrior. Like Thorpe.
He frowns sagely and scratches his chin.
You got hit on head too many time. Not remember name. Someday it come back.
I sure hope so. Say, what are you doing here?
Well, Thorpe here with friends. We gonna bash a flying lizard.
A flying lizard. He nods his head, then begins to make crawling motions.
A lizard, you know, but it fly.
You mean a dragon?
Well, Thorpe good, but he not that good. Someday, Thorpe want to bash dragon.
He stares off into the distance with a longing expression, then sighs.
But this not that day. Thorpe not remember what Xanthia call it. It lizard, tall as Thorpe, walk on back legs, got wings, got claws, red in colour. I think she say they called Abby Shy.
Oh, I've heard of something called an Abishai. Is that what you mean?
Yes, Abishai, flying lizard. Thorpe bash real good. Thorpe be warrior of stature then. Xanthia accept apology.
So, fighting this Abishai is supposed to give you stature?
Will Xanthia say so? Thorpe not know.
I see. Say, what can you tell me about this place, Thorpe?
Thorpe not know. Thorpe new here. Thorpe just here for fun.
Well, yeah. You're going to Barsh and Abishai.
You got that right. Thorpe and Friends Bosh.
Thorpe, look. I'm sure you know already, but I've recently learned that Abishai can only be hurt by magic weapons. He gives you a worried look.
Well, need magic? How you know?
Well, actually, I talked to Xanthia. She told me.
Xanthia? Xanthia played Thorpe for a coney. She lied. Tried to get Thorpe and Friends dead.
I'm afraid so, Thorpe.
Will Xanthia not deserve apology? Thorpe free from debt to her.
It seems that way to me.
Thorpe, thank you. You saved life. You saved life of Friends.
He turns to the other Thakola and speaks to them hurriedly. After a moment, all three bow to you, and each hands you a pouch of coins. Thank you. He gives you a surprisingly warm smile.
You good friend. You deserve.
Take care of yourself, Thor.
You too, Smalley.
The now disappointed crowd boos and jeers as Thorpe and his friends slide their large table back into the center of the space.
No fight. Thorpe, no apologize.
No, folks, calm down. Hey, how's about a tails race? Fastest down the hatch gets there. Next ale free. Xanthia, her face filled with hatred, storms over to you and grabs you by the chin.
You warned the brute, didn't you?
I did what I felt was right. Get your hands off me.
I will not forget this insult. Good evening, sir.
Good work, Carter. Tab is clear, but if you want the rooms, you still gotta pay. Fair enough. Splendid. You hand him a few of the silver coins the Thakola had just given you, and Giltspur returns with 3 keys, each attached to a miniature iron pony. Rooms are upstairs on your left, food is not included, and you have to be out by peak, the latest. Thanks. Upstairs, the tone is considerably more peaceful. The small common area, dimly lit by glowing fat candles, fans into several small adjoining rooms. Seated at one of the worn couches in the center is a Githzerai man sipping on a glass of dark liquor. His gaunt yellow features are covered with scars. Multiple tattoos adorn his face and limbs, and a long blade rests in its sheath beside him. As he notices Dakon, he rises from his seat. Greetings. The Githzerai ignores you, staring into Dakon's coal-like eyes. After a moment, he utters several clipped words in the Gith tongue, and if you understand the inflections correctly, he just said,
Try Revrikans, all beholden Zerth. Dirak you try.
Dakon replies in the same tongue. The sentence structure is odd, but you think it translates to,
This one is numbered among the faithful.
Everything all right, Dakon? The Githzerai turns to you as you speak, then turns back to Dakon and speaks again, this time at great length.
Zan Dakon ni Githzerai, and Kivrakla.
You have difficulty deciphering it all, but you make out,
There is one by Dakon's name who is not one of the people. It is said that his mind is divided. It is said that he is a Zerth that does not know the words of Zerthamon. This one is numbered among the faithful.
Dakon falls silent, as if to give the words time to sink in.
The one beside me speaks. Will you hear him? Zerth, you Revri Rakvash.
The Gith's response is so quick it almost has the force of an attack behind it.
Zerth, do you obey the words of this human?
You're not certain if you got the entire meaning, but it seems the Gith just issued some sort of challenge to Dakon in the form of a question.
T'Char's choice has become mine. This matter carries the stink of the illicit about it.
His eyes flicker across Dakon's face.
I see no chains upon you. You speak your mind. How did this blasphemy come to be? The chains are my own.
His skin seems to take on an ashen shade as he speaks. It sounds like every word is slowly killing him.
An arc of 100 years. There is no hourglass that can measure the tale. The matter is as twisted as Freehe's roots. Its resolution is one of impossibility, and may never come. The one beside me speaks. Will you hear him?
The Gith does not look at you. His attention is focused on Dakon.
His words are known to me, Zerth. His actions are not. His shadow speaks of one who has seen combat and bested all that stood against him. Do my eyes fail to see beyond the still circle? Your question flies true. It is my will that you know we walk the same path. Will you hear him? I will hear him, Zerth.
Dakon turns to you and speaks again in common.
He will hear you.
Okay. If you could ask
Your
him
words are known to me. Face me and speak your mind. I will hear you.
Very well. Who are you?
Actually, drowning.
He seems impatient with the question.
I am Hail Sien, a soldier of the Gethzerai.
I see. A soldier. Is that how you got your scars? His face contorts into a grim smile, and he places a hand upon your shoulder, then raises his arms and holds them to his face, then his chest. What did I say? Dakon smiles.
It is a sign of honor to ask of one's scars. It shows respect for one's history. The scars that bedeck my face come from the encounters in the halls of Ilsenstein. My Rakma band was nearly devoured by cowardly Illithids. The scar upon my upper torso comes from the weak-driven blade of a Githyanki kinstealer. Speak the history of your scars.
They have come from so many battles the tale would be too long in the telling. He bows his head.
Your prowess is noted, Swordringer.
I must add, in truth, I do not recall how I earned most of them. His expression alters slightly. Whether in confusion or contempt, you cannot tell.
How can scars not tell stories of how they came to be?
I have lost the memory of their past, and my past as well.
To Char's lament, then. I mourn your loss of mind and history.
What about your tattoos?
They speak of the history of my kin, and grant me their strength and minds. One, etched by Azurok of the Isle of Seal, tells of my kin Jilikai, who buried his enemies in the walls of Shark Lower. Another, here, was inscribed by Fel, the Dabas who walks, and tells of the Battle of Roji and myself as we fought 7 Sladi in the plains of Limbo before the 8th silenced Roji's mind. Now, tell me of yours.
All were inked before I lost my memory. The ones on my back are a past warning to myself. The symbol upon my shoulder is apparently something called the Mark of Torment. The rest, I do not know.
You should consider them. Some may speak of the obstacles you have overcome. Others, what you may have once hoped to achieve. Perhaps they might reveal tales of your past.
Perhaps. You spoke of Fel.
The Dabas who walks is a master of the craft. Some tattoos tell tales. Others tell of the spirit. The tattoos that Fel inscribes upon the skin lend strength of the body and strength of the mind based on the tale.
What kind of strength?
The tattoo of Roji, he who spilled the life of 7 Sladi, gives me strength in my limbs when I am faced by overwhelming odds. The strength lent would depend on the experience. Tell Fel your tales, and the tattoos will grant their power when the tail is placed upon the flesh. I would offer to accompany you on the experience. It is quite unique. But I have a duty to my people.
What is that duty?
I am here to gather supplies and summon reinforcements. The Githyanki grow bold these days. We prepare for bloody war. Besides, I am eager to leave this place. I have discovered that this city is like Trigor's gem, oft praised, but little of value to be found. The air is poor for one of the people, and those within it do not know themselves. They are empty shells. And the directions in this city are like following the ravings of an anarch who does not know himself.
Fair enough. Well, I'll leave you to it. Good night.
Yes, it is a good night.
Settling down, the four of you head to your rooms, Anna and Dakon each to their own, with Mort resting in yours. But this night, as with many before, brings little rest to your uneasy mind. Hours go by as thoughts revolve around the many unanswered questions of your past. Stepping into the common room, you slump onto a couch and gaze as the dim candlelight plays about the scars across your limbs. Some you recognize from mere days ago, the gash upon your wrist from the blade of the one-eared tiefling, the wound in your thigh from the thugs in the hive, the still swollen tooth marks in your abdomen from earlier this very day, and the countless weave crisscrossed beneath, a patchwork of brambles grasping your skin. Buried under the layers of scar tissue are numerous faded tattoos. It is hard to make out most, but a few are left unmarred. Barbed briars that twist about your forearm, curling into gnarled and knotted roots. Swirling images, like contorted faces inked in deep rich black, circle your upper chest. This mark of torment upon your left shoulder. A cruel symbol, like a blade set to cause more harm to one who would grasp it than any they might oppose. Just looking at it twinges upon something deep within, and you wonder what spurred you to choose such a thing. Day 10. Hour 4 after Annie Peak. I retrieved the bronze sphere for Pharod, but learned little from him that I didn't already know. He claimed I came to him asking for a boon, a truce, a courtesy from his collectors. But that was all. He then sent his daughter, Anna, to show me where she'd found my body before it was taken to the mortuary. I don't know what I'd hoped to find there, but I am no closer to understanding who I was or how I came to be like this. What was that? You rise to your feet as you hear a noise from within your room. Trying to listen, you creep towards the door and hear the sudden scuffle of moving furniture and the crack of splintered wood. Mort! Bursting into the room, you look upon the wreckage within. Shattered glass litters the floor, and strips of cloth flutter from the shards of the window frame. You lunge forward, craning through the opening, and see two blurry figures dash into the fog. Stop! You turn. There's no way you can catch them running through the building. Reeling round, you prepare yourself to jump. But your limbs don't move. Something locks your joints. A cold grasp creeps through your body, freezing your blood. And like a reaching arm, a swirling mass of shadow forms before you. It touches your skin, and inky tendrils of darkness elongate into claws that pierce into your lungs. You cannot breathe. Pain racks racks your body as if every ancient scar had split anew.
They're here. You sure?
Just climb up. I can smell them. I have the bag ready.
I'm ready. Is this the one?
Oh, it's a skull, ain't it? That's what he wants. Wait. I hear something.
What is it? Quickly, grab the skull. Let's go. I'm stuck. Hurry.
Oh, you fool. Help me up.
Okay. Now run.
Hey, what's going on? Let me out.
Shut it up. What was that thing?
I don't know. Some fiend.
Like living darkness.
Let's get back.
Hey, you know, when I get out, I'm gonna chew your leg off. Whoever you are.
Did you find Hector? Yes. We did as promised for the master.
What?
Good. Give it to me. Give it to me. If Master Lothar is pleased, I will see you are rewarded.
Lothar? Oh no.
Thank you. Now leave me. Leave me.
Get your grimy claws off me. You! I'll bite off your tongue, you filthy rat.
We shall see, Skull.
Mentor, is everything all right?
All is well, Master Lothar. I have what you had requested.
Show it to me. What?
A skull of most promising power, is it not? You serve us most excellently.
Your knees crack against the wooden boards as you fall, locked in an icy grip. Wisps of shadow swirl and coil about you. A living darkness, its mouth stretching through an inky shroud, shrieks in hate and fury. Pit-like eyes fall beneath its brow. You try to break free, but you are numb. You feel nothing. Light washes throughout the dorm and Dakon bursts in, his glaive gleaming bright. He strides to the ruined window, leaning out, as Anna carefully lifts your head.
He's not breathing.
Your eyes strain under the dazzling blade as Dakon kneels beside you. You can't move. You can't even blink.
What's wrong with him? I'm not certain. It's like he's got no strength. That may be. One moment.
Dakon places the stone circle of Zerthamon upon your chest and whispers a mantra.
Then he redraws strength. The power of one gathers many to it.
At once, blood rushes to your skin and you feel prickling heat all over. Your muscles twitch, your chest swells, and finally, gasp for air. Your lids grow heavy, your eyes begin to close, and you feel a gentle breeze cool the channels of tears on your cheeks as you rise, lifted, then rest gently upon the empty cot. You awake, and it's odd. You feel surprisingly refreshed. There's a sturdiness to your form, as though invigorated through some sport. No aches or knots. Vital and purposeful. You open your eyes to see the cold light streaming in over the shards of broken glass, the drapes torn and fluttering by the window. And you see Anna, sleeping, curled in an armchair by your bed. Then suddenly, you remember.
Mort! Oh, I thought we'd lost you.
Dakon enters, glaive still in hand.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. What happened? Where's Mort? No sign of him outside. Whoever took him must have fled the streets.
We found you sprawled out on the floor.
We have to find him.
Hold on. You asked what happened. I want to know too. You looked dead, almost. More than usual, at least. But your face, it held some terror in it I'd never seen. What's going on?
I don't know. I heard a noise and came to the window. I think I saw whoever took Mort running, but there was too much fog.
Aye, and the scream?
There was something, a shape in the darkness, like shadow, but whole, or close to being whole. It held me. Then you came in, didn't you see? The room was empty, but for you on the floor. I checked.
Some wizardry, perhaps?
Perhaps. But why? Downstairs, a few hungover patrons lean, slumped at the bar. Giltspur, immaculately presented in his uniform, whistles while polishing his glassware. He smiles as you approach.
Ah, morning, Cutter. Good to see you once again. Once again, good to see you. Hope you slept well. Is there anything
I'm looking for a floating skull.
Okay, that is not what I was expecting you to say.
It was stolen from me.
Ah. Oh, your Mimir companion. I do remember seeing that.
Yeah. Do you know where someone might have taken him?
Taken? A skull. Yeah, I mean, there's but one market for that sort of thing that I know of, but...
He drops his gaze and leans over to you.
Well, I could not tell you where it is, unless... Well, I couldn't tell you, friend, for it would endanger your life. No, sir, your life and mine are both far too precious to be thrown away for such a trivial tidbit of knowledge.
What if I threatened you?
That would do it. Listen to me, and listen closely. Only one man I know dares to traffic in such occult arcana, and that man is no man to be trifled with. Danger wafts from him, and few dare speak his name. I speak of Lothar, Master of the Bones.
Who?
The Master of the Bones, the Lord of the fabled Bones of the Night, librarian of the most grisly library this side of Set's home. Skulls sit upon his shelves, whispering their secrets into Lothar's hardened heart, and all who have the temerity to face them. There is much that can be learned there, if the place doesn't drive you mad fast.
Can you get to the point?
Well, my apologies for trying to make this a little more interesting to you. Just trying to add a little spice. It's downward of here towards the ditch. You might see a burnt shell of a building. It's possible that you will then find a ladder strung of human sinew, or perhaps just wood, that leads down into the heart of Sigil itself. And when you set foot on ground again, you could come face to face with Lothar himself.
What does he do with the skulls?
Well, they say dead men tell no tales, but in Lothar's salon, the dead spill their secrets to the willing ear. The more dead, the more tales. The more tales, the more chant. And the more chant,
while the Moreone's eyes are open to the very heart of the multiverse. Thanks. Farewell. What? Keys? Oh, right. Here you go. In the light of day, you can now far better see how this lower ward differs from the hive. The streets are still cramped and the buildings stacked high, but there is much more structure to them. Rows of tinted windows line the red brick walls, square and imposing. The cobbled and muddy pathways are replaced with paved stone slabs, stained with soot and chalk dust. Great open archways mark the entrance to busy workshops, wide enough for the access of a wagon cart. And there is a pervading smell of wood shavings, grease, and burnt hair. All this is accompanied by the consistent clang of hammering metal. Almost impressive if it weren't for the grim scowl set on each face that passes you by.
Greetings.
The worker barely looks up as you attempt to stop them.
I just need a moment of your time. And I really don't give a rat's ass. Now, pike off. I'm just looking for bones of the night.
He shoots you a sneer of disgust and turns away.
Clueless sod. Powers, you're trying to catch chefs asking a bird like that?
Well, what am I supposed to do?
You really want to go to Bones of the Night?
I don't have much of a choice.
Walk away, Anna. For once, just walk.
What do you know about it?
Not much. Not about the police exactly. But a few harder bloods I used to know would earn a bit of jink collecting heads for the Master of Bones.
Used to know.
Oh, that's the part that worried you. I do know how to pick him. But you don't keep yourself out the dead book long by dealing with cutters like that.
Do you know where this place is?
Mayhap. I never been mind, but I think I know where to look.
Anna, please. And after this, we'll go back to Pharod and you didn't see us ever again, if you don't want to.
Until I find you lying on the street. Alright, follow me.
Anna leads you and Dakon through the smog-filled streets, away from the din, and towards a more familiar sight, the ditch. The reek is no better than you'd remembered, and you certainly don't relish the thought of climbing down the mud-slick banks. As Anna points towards the gutted old ruin half slumped into the ooze, it seems that's exactly what you must do. It certainly looks the part, a burnt-out wreck like the shriveled carcass of some giant spider. Where else might house such a morbid reliquary of skulls? Just inside, despite the debris and scattered refuse, the entrance is oddly beautiful. Gentle beams of light filter through the remnants of a stained glass window, casting colorful shadows across the stonework. The tiles of the floor, though now cracked and faded, appear to have once held some opulence. An ornate spiral pattern coils to the center, and it is there that you see the descending pit mounted with a ladder. Upon closer inspection, it appears to be constructed from the bones of many creatures, and you half believe Giltspur's tale of it being strung with sinew. Climbing down the chasmic hollow, you are surrounded by the chittering of small creatures. A distinct smell of rat musk lingers in the air. But as you reach the base, you find yourself in a richly decorated salon. Grave goods of 100,000 wealthy deaders are set up as trophies in this lavish waiting room. Neatly arrayed ottomans and settees are draped with plush hairs. Thick layers of tapestry and silken burial shrouds hang from sconces upon the walls, and a pungent incense fills the space, softening the light with a musty haze. But what strikes you as most prominent is the crystalline cabinet, displaying row after row of cleanly polished skulls. Most you recognize to be humanoid, some more beastly. But you notice several gargantuan crowns, warped and crested like fiends, or bulged and hefty like those of the giant kin.
Let's not be lingering. The Master of Bones is not known for his hospitality?
Just a moment. A faint shimmer gleams across one of the skulls, and as you approach, a cool glow brightens in its empty eye sockets. Hello? The skull suddenly speaks with a deep voice and a jocular tone. Have you come to learn of the truth? I have truth aplenty. Certainly. Tell me of yourself. I am Stern, one of the great practitioners of personal peace through intensive redirection of hostilities. A hiss escapes from another skull's teeth.
You mean you're a wizard, an assassin, and a poisoner?
However you choose to define it, Grimscalp. I was the best of the lot, so it's said. Then how did you wind up here? Well, funny you should mention that. I had a little black book given to me in order that I might puzzle out its secrets. I unlocked its powers for a terrible price, one that I would gladly pay again, and sharpened my edge considerably. Little did I realize the book would betray me to another, a mewling rat thing that overwhelmed me in a wave of rodents and tore the flesh from my living bones. That rat went through a series of disciples, each of them betrayed by the book, until it wound up in the possession of our master's faithful rat man, Montuark.
Montuark?
Yes. I sense you've heard of him. If you get the chance, take it from his lifeless corpse, accept its powers, and be rid of it before you suffer the same fate from another.
Noted. What can you tell me about the other skulls here?
Of those that will speak to you, I can offer no good words. Their experiences have not been shared with me. Indeed, we have spoken precious little until your arrival. Perhaps there's something peculiar about your very presence.
Perhaps. Peculiar enough for you to tell me of this Master of Bones, no doubt.
Of Lothar, I will tell you nothing. Even this bare existence is better than the oblivion he promises should I speak his secrets.
You can tell me.
You get the distinct impression Stern's skull is sneering at you, and gain merely your friendship. Bah. There is nothing you can offer me, no service nor item that will impel me to betray Lothar to you. Now be gone.
Farewell, then. Oi, stranger. Let me see you.
This other skull's voice is low and raspy, the sound of flint and steel.
I think I've seen you before.
Oh, yeah? Where?
Cursed.
Where's that?
Why are you clueless? It's a gate town, on the rim of the Outlands, the doorway to the prison plane of Carceri. It's a place of backstabbers and traitors, and it's as full of schemes as a Batsu's undergarments. Well, being right next door to Carceri is apt to change a burg's nature. I won't be surprised if the town we're about to slide over.
What do you mean?
When a gate town's beliefs get too much like the plane it borders, the force of that belief is enough to make the plane swallow it whole. Happens all the time. At least when the anarchists are involved.
Right. Say, what can you tell me about the other skulls here?
Them? No, they're all tools. But they do not know it. Their dreams are small and personal. They do not see a larger picture in their schemings. They do not see beyond themselves. They are worthless. I do not speak to them.
So, then, how did you come here?
Betrayal. I should have expected it, given who I am. Or rather, who I was.
Who were you?
I was Grimscalp. I used to be an anarchist, one of the Revolutionary League. We were on the brink, set to topple the nature of the plains so everyone could live in freedom. We had the dark on some of the factols and were ready to make our move, but were betrayed by another faction. I wound up dead, and Lothar wound up collecting me for my secrets. Most of them are out of date by now. And good thing, too, as there ain't no resisting Lothar's charms.
You're an anarchist. What can you tell me about them?
A secret society. Cells of members who work alone, or pass through the network of informants and leaders who remain hidden. Our goal is to tear down the power structure to free people from the lies of politicians and powers, to let all lead their own lives of their own volition. We worked in secrecy, and changed our routines constantly to avoid infiltration. You sound like a paranoid bunch. If a society you belong to thrived on intrigue, infiltration, and the hatred of the established powermongers, you'd be careful too. It's not paranoia when they really are out to get you. In our line of belief, someone involved in a triple cross is an amateur.
The skull regards you evenly for a moment.
I think I'm done speaking with you. Farewell.
Oh, wait, hold on. Tell me about Lothar and I'll leave you be.
I've spilled the dark of many secrets, but that's not one I'm willing to sacrifice. I've seen horrors in Lothar's hand that would put the Harmonium's rigid rules to shame. He knows my secrets far better than I know his, and I'll be damned if I'm giving them up for anyone. Even you. Especially you.
Why? What do you know about me?
You're a far traveler. You've been seen across the plains. You're important to Lothar somehow, and there's something about you that he wants to understand. You're like a puzzle. He's interested in you, boyo, and he wants his questions answered. He'll be keeping an eye on you.
What was I doing in Cursed?
Oh, you were babbling something about Burke trying to kill you, and wandering into all the wrong places. Well, you were obviously balmy and all, so me and some of my friends rolled you, stuck a shiv in you and divvied up your stuff. It was right after that I was betrayed, but not before I hid myself a stash.
Where'd you hide it?
I ain't telling. Well, maybe someday I'll get my body back and go for it myself. Or maybe I won't, but right now, it gives me great joy to see you wandering. Good luck finding it.
The skull falls silent, and the light dims in its eye sockets.
Bastard.
Chief? That you?
Mort.
You turn and see Mort mounted in a glass case upon a marble pedestal. He looks no more harmed than usual, but there is a panic in his eyes that you've not witnessed before.
Oh, thank the powers you're here. Chief, get me out of this thing.
What are you doing up there?
Well, those where-at vermin nicked me and brought me here. Come on, boss, we gotta get out of here. This place is bad news. Come on, get me down before you...
A flash of light and smoke blinds you for a moment. And as it clears, a withered old man stands before you.
Have we visitors, Skull?
At first glance, he looks frail, but there's something about the way he stands. You feel a sickness in your stomach and a tension in your neck, as if you were straining under a vast weight. And you feel compelled to bow.
Oh, no. Do not offend this blood, boss. He'll deadbook you faster than you can spit.
The old man ignores Mort.
Greetings, traveler. Who might you be to enter Lothar's humble salon without invitation?
You've kidnapped my friend. Give him back. Now.
Kidnapped? Your friend? I have done no such thing. Where is this friend?
He means me. Look, sir, just let me go and we'll let this go. Water under the ditch, eh?
I did not give permission for you to speak, Skull.
Mort quails under Lothar's grim voice.
Scarred One, if you wish the skull back, you must fetch me a skull of great value from the catacombs below. I will not bargain for something that is already mine. Accept or not.
He was never yours, or anyone's to begin with.
Your ignorance is astonishing. You truly know very little about very little. Now, fetch me another skull to replace him, or say farewell to your friend.
Just give him back.
The skull is mine. If you press the issue, I will take yours as well.
Boss, don't push it. Let it go.
The skull speaks wisely. Heed it.
Very well then. How do I find a greater skull?
Move aside the divan in the center of the room, and pass through the portal on the eastern wall in the chambers below to the catacombs. The portal will remain active for your return. In the catacombs are many skulls. One of great value lies within the interred crypts of the Dustmen beyond the Drowned Nations. Bring that skull to me, as my Wereat minions have failed to do, and I will see to it that your friend is returned to you. Perhaps I shall even answer some questions for you.
What assurance do I have that you will keep your word?
You have my word. That will be enough for you. Unless, of course, you would rather not see your friend again.
It's good enough for me, boss. And I'm the one stuck here. Let it go, alright? Just go get the skull and come back for me.
Fine. Lothar, I'll be back, friend. Farewell. Thank you for listening to Planescape Torment, the unofficial audio series, a Revoker GM production. To support the show and those involved, please consider subscribing to our Patreon or donating via our Ko-fi page. Links to both are in the description.